Welcome to CAN, Caribbean Affiliate News. My name is Siobhan Gubin. Here are the stories that we're following today, August 3rd, 2013. In international news, U.S. issues global travel alert, shuts down embassies in Muslim countries. In Brazil, prison massacre. 25 police officers are jailed and 111 inmates were killed. An L.A. film shoot almost turns deadly when police mistake it for a real robbery. Twitter says sorry to a woman over abuse. And details on these headlines and more when we return. Welcome back to CAN, Caribbean Affiliate News. My name is Siobhan Gubin. This segment of the news is sponsored by Total Caribbean Network. The United States issued an extraordinary global travel warning to Americans yesterday about the threat of an al-Qaeda attack and closed down 21 embassies and consulates across the Muslim world for the weekend. The alert was the first of its kind since an announcement preceding the 10th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. This one comes with the scars still fresh from last year's deadly September 11 attack on a U.S. diplomatic post in Benghazi, Libya, and with the Obama administration and Congress determined to prevent any similar breach of an American embassy or consulate. There's a significant threat stream and we are reacting to it, said General Martin Dempsey, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He told ABC News in an interview to be aired tomorrow that the threat was more specific than previous ones and the intent is to attack Western, not just U.S. interests. The State Department warning urged American travelers to take extra precautions overseas, citing potential dangers involved with public transportation systems and other prime sites for tourists, and noting that previous terrorist attacks have centered on subway and rail networks as well as airplanes and boats. It suggested travelers sign up for State Department alerts and register with U.S. consulates in the countries they visit. The statement said that al-Qaeda or its allies might target either U.S. government or private American interests. The alert expires on August 31st. The State Department said the potential for terrorism was particularly acute in the Middle East and North Africa, with a possible attack occurring on or coming from the Arabian Peninsula. U.S. officials pointed specifically to Yemen, the home of al-Qaeda's most dangerous offshoot, and the network blamed for several notable terrorist plots on the United States, from the fall Christmas Day 2009 effort to bomb an airliner over Detroit to the explosive-laden parcels intercepted the following year aboard cargo flights. The alert was posted a day after the U.S. announced it would shut down many diplomatic facilities Sunday. Spokeswoman Marie Half said the department acted out of an abundance of caution and that some missions may stay closed for longer than a day. Sunday is a business day in Muslim countries, and the diplomatic offices affected stretch from Mauritania in northwest Africa to Afghanistan. Although the warning coincided with Al-Quds Day, the last Friday of the Islamic month of Ramadan, when people in Iran and some Arab countries expressed their solidarity with the Palestinians and their opposition to Israel, U.S. officials played down any connection. They said the threat was directed toward a specific American diplomatic facility. The concern by American officials over the Yemen-based al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula is not new, given the terrorist branch's gains in territory and reach during Yemen's prolonged Arab Spring-related instability. The group made significant territorial gains last year, capturing towns and cities in the south amid a power struggle in the capital that ended with the resignation of Yemen's longtime leader, Ali Abdullah Saleh. A U.S.-aided counter-offensive by the government has since pushed the militants back. Yemen's current president, Abdul Rabi Mansour Hadi, met with U.S. President Barack Obama at the White House on Thursday, where both leaders cited strong counter-terrorism cooperation. Earlier this week, Yemen's military reported a U.S. drone strike killed 6 alleged al-Qaeda militants in the group's southern strongholds. As recently as June, the group's commander, Qasim al-Rimi, released an Arabic-language video urging attacks on U.S. targets and praising the ethnic Chechen brothers accused of carrying out the Boston Marathon bombings. Britain also took action Friday in Yemen, announcing it would close its embassy there on Sunday and Monday as a precaution. Britain, which closely coordinates on intelligence matters with Washington, stopped short of releasing a similar region-wide alert, but added that some embassy staff in Yemen had been withdrawn due to security concerns. British embassies and consulates elsewhere in the Middle East would remain open. Representative Ed Royce for California, the House Foreign Affairs Committee chairman, said the embassy threat was linked to al-Qaeda and concerned the Middle East and Central Asia. Representative C.A. Dutch Ruppersberger of Maryland, the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Panel, also supported the department's decision to go public with its concern. The State Department issued another warning a year ago about potential violence connected to the September 11th anniversary. Dozens of American installations were besieged by protests over reports of an anti-Islam video made by an American resident, and in Benghazi, Libya, the U.S. ambassador and 3 other Americans were killed when militants assaulted a diplomatic post. The administration no longer says Benghazi was related to the demonstrations, but the attack continues to be a flashpoint of contention with Republicans in Congress who say Obama, former Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton, and others in the government misled the country about the nature of the attack after failing to provide adequate diplomatic protection. 25 police have been given life sentences for their part in the 1992 massacre in Sao Paulo's Carandiru jail that left 111 prisoners dead. Each police officer was sentenced to 624 years for the death of 52 inmates. The verdicts come in the second of 4 stages of the trial involving different floors of the prison. 23 officers were given life terms in the first stage in April. The police are expected to stay free pending an appeal. The defense can only challenge the verdicts after the end of the whole trial expected in January 2014. The officers, 9 of whom are still on active duty, will also lose their jobs. The riot began on the 2nd of October 1992 after an argument between 2 inmates quickly spread, with rival gangs facing off in what was at the time one of South America's largest prisons, housing 10,000 inmates. Inmates said riot police brutally repressed the riot. The officer's lawyer, Aida Ribeiro de Souza, argued they were only doing their duty and acted in self-defense as many of the inmates were armed. While prison riots are not uncommon in Brazil, the number of those killed at Carandiru and the slow pace of Brazilian justice system in bringing the accused to trial shocked the public. Carandiru was closed in 2002, shortly after inmates coordinated simultaneous uprising in 27 jails across Sao Paulo, states during which thousands of visitors were held hostage. In 2001, Ubertano Guimarães, who led the police operation to regain control in Carandiru, was convicted of using excessive force, but he was acquitted on appeal in 2006. In LA, college filmmakers were using fake guns to shoot a robbery scene at a suburban Los Angeles coffee shop when the movie took a scary twist that wasn't in the script. 8 police officers were descending on the masked actors, as the police were real with very real guns drawn and had no idea this was a movie. "Drop the gun, drop it," one officer yells on an audio recording police were carrying. One of the actors immediately let go of his fake assault rifle, but another held onto his replica handgun, forcing officers to make a life or death choice. An officer knocked the gun from the actor's hand and handcuffed him, drawing a peaceful climax to what could have been something far worse. One of the officers made the decision that had the man moved, he would have been killed, said Glendora Police Captain Tim Stabe. It was just milliseconds from a tragedy. Police said it showed the dangers of movie making for amateur film crews who don't get permits and follow proper steps before taking to the streets. "I can't think of a situation more dangerous than having a gun in your hand with cops responding," Stabe said. "It was much closer than we ever want to get close." Attempts to reach the film's director was unsuccessful. The students declined to tell police what college they were from. The officers responded to the shop after receiving a 911 call from a woman who reported seeing an armed masked gunman inside. Classic Coffee in Glendora, a suburb east of Los Angeles that rarely sees Hollywood film crews. Police said there was nothing to indicate a short movie was being shot. No one was outside to warn customers, there were no signs, and no permit had been pulled. When officers arrived, there was no question in their mind that a robbery was occurring, Stab said. It's rare to go into a coffee shop and see someone carrying an AR-15 rifle and wearing a mask, he said. Under normal filming protocols, weapons carried by the actors have orange markings to indicate they are replicas. But the markings on the guns used by the students had been covered by a black pen, presumably to make the weapons look more realistic. Stab said one of the masked men, apparently startled by the real-life response, held a fake gun by his side pointed toward the ground. When he didn't drop it, Stab said an officer did something unusual. He stripped it from the man's hand and sent the gun falling to the floor. After the man was handcuffed, the officer is heard on the audio tape asking what was going on. Somebody says a film was being made. You are shooting a short film, the officer asked, in a store with a man with a gun? The students were allowed to keep the fake weapons and weren't facing any charges. They were given a lecture by officers about the dangers they created and went on their way. Reports on abuse on women has hit the social networking site Twitter. Twitter's UK boss has issued an apology. Greater steps have been taken by the social networking site to ensure it doesn't happen in the future. Devin Bissoon has the details.
Twitter's UK boss has personally apologized to women who have been attacked by trolls on the social networking site, vowing to do more to protect people from abuse. It comes as Scotland Yard said its e-crime unit was looking into claims by 8 people of abuse. Twitter found itself in the spotlight after 3 female journalists said they have been the subject of bomb threats on the site, and 2 other women. An MP and a campaigner received threats of rape. The bomb threat tweet was sent to The Guardian Columbus Hadley Freeman, Independent Columbus Grace Dent, and Europe editor of the Time magazine Catherine Meir, as well as a number of other women. In separate incidents, Labour MP Stella Creasy and campaigner Caroline Perez, who successfully fought for a woman's face to appear on 10 banknotes, were threatened on Twitter with rape. 2 arrests have already been made in relation to those threats. Meanwhile, TV classics expert Mary Beard silenced an internet troll after naming and shaming it on the site. Twitter has now clarified its rules on abusive behavior amid a growing backlash over a series of attacks. The firm said it was putting extra staff on the teams which handle abuse reports, and an in-tweet report button has been added so people can report abusive behavior directly from a tweet. It comes as an online petition calling for a report abuse button had attracted more than 120,000 signatures. Tony Wang, general manager of Twitter UK, has posted a series of tweets saying abuse was simply not accepted. He wrote, "I personally apologize to the women who have experienced abuse on Twitter and for what they have gone through." This is Devin Bassoon reporting for Caribbean Affiliate News.
You're watching Caribbean Affiliate News. We will be right back.